Hi, I'm Joe Hilferty, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about one of my absolute favorite things. This is probably the best microwave period ever made, and it was recently just updated. So I think these Advantium ovens, they're called, they were introduced in the late 90s. They had little minor updates, I think, in the early and mid 2000 or mid aughts. I want to say a major update in 2008 or 9 where they added convection to both the 120 volt and the 240 volt versions, and then finally, in 2020, we've got this updated version. Now, these are sold in profile, cafe, and monogram versions. Now, what we're looking at is the monogram. I want to say they call this the professional series, or there's some name for it nowadays. There's minimalist, and I think there's something else. So anyhow, this version, by the way, this is a 240 volt version. So when you're looking at these, you're going to see that there are two voltage options: 120 volts, and I want to say that runs about 15 amps. This is a 30 amp 240 volt version. Now, people who research these things online are going to go and rave about the performance of the 240 volt version, and I believe that more powerful version gives you a more powerful heater on the roof here. There's another heater under the floor, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that back there, but there's a couple of halogen heaters there, and then in the back there is a third heater. There's a cal rod heater, and then of course there is there's an additional heating source, which is a magnetron, like all microwaves. So the way that this guy works is when you boot it up, you have basically they're kind of laying these out in and probably how you would use them. There is the most number one use feature in any microwave these days is just a little 30-second button. So you can press that, it puts 30 seconds on the board. Obviously if I hit the little 30 seconds again, I can add more time. I can hit these little arrows to reduce or add time. Of course I did that backwards, or I can add a minute. So that is, that's just going in and microwaving. So one of the complaints that people sometimes have with these multi-use products is that they can get a little bit cumbersome on the user interface. And when we look at a Miele, Miele does give you some quick access to their combination oven microwave for just microwaving, but a lot of stuff you got to open it up. You got to go into the sub menus for their modes. You've got to select microwave, and then you can adjust things like the power level in a specific amount of time. Here, again, you can go right into microwaving. If I select the microwave option, it's going to give me various things that I might want to heat in the microwave, and these actually work. So there's a popcorn button, because people who still eat microwave popcorn, although I don't think you're supposed to do that, it's there. If you go into beverages, this is pretty cool. There it is. So coffee, hot cocoa, milk, tea, water. If I select one of these, this does a really nice job of dialing in the right amount of time for reheating your coffee. And this isn't going to burn my mouth if it's a decent amount that's left over in my mug. I could always add time to that if I felt like it was necessary, or again, I could subtract some time from this if I wanted to as well. In the reheat options, if I select reheat, I've got some various things. Now what's interesting is if I select something like a casserole, it doesn't just microwave indefinitely like a lot of these things do. It's actually going to time it out based on how much food that I'm trying to reheat. So I've got 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cups, 4 cups. All of this is going to help the microwave figure out how long to run, and I'm sure again we can probably adjust this. So for about a cup of casserole reheating, it's putting 2 minutes on there, and I could add or subtract time to it. Now here's where it starts to get interesting. So back in the 70s, I think I'm told that microwaves had the ability to have heating elements, and in I think commercial cooking technology, this is fairly popular in the last couple of decades, where you're using radiant heat to brown the outside of the food. You're using a microwave magnetron to heat the inside of the food simultaneously. And the problem with all of these things is that it got too cumbersome. It was too difficult for people to figure out how to set up the microwave. So GE came up with a pretty neat concept. They give you the option of breaking the food down into different things. So let's say I have kids that they're a pain, and I actually do have kids that are a pain, and they want chicken nuggets. So I'm gonna go into frozen foods, see if I can find chicken, and there it is. And there's nuggets. And I can tell that I want 1, 2, or 3 to 4 servings. I always like to eat some of their nuggets before I give them to them, so I'm gonna make a few extra. And the upper heater is set to 50%, the lower heater is set to 100%, the microwave is set to 30%, the convection is set to 100%. I didn't have to program that, it already knew that those were the parameters. So it's also going to suggest a time of 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, I've tried this. It actually comes out perfect. The oven baked crispy chicken nuggets that I prefer to make at home come out here instead of 10 to 15 minutes. Here we're at 5 minutes and like 40 seconds or whatever it was. So what it's doing here is it's combining all of those various heating systems to go ahead and create a perfect source. Now, if I didn't do the 240 volt version and I did the 120 volt version, that would probably take twice as long. So if you're really into this technology and you really think that you might use this to do, and again, it doesn't have to be chicken nuggets. There are other things in there. We could do, there's probably pizza, I'm sure, but there are vegetables, meats, potatoes, here's meats, beef. Let's do filet mignon. And let's do 2 fillets, about a 1.5 inch thickness. And I don't know why you would do a well done fillet. That's disgusting. GE, get rid of that button. I'm gonna go for medium. And again, upper heater is at 100%, lower heater is on at 100%. The microwave is dialed all the way down at just 10%, and the convection heater is all the way up at 100%. So when I hit start, it's gonna throw 10 minutes on there. I don't want medium, I really want less than medium. So maybe I'll do 8 minutes and 30 seconds and then check it. So there's a whole bunch of things that are in here that we can do. In addition to that, now that, typically what would happen for that process to work is we're gonna take out the glass turntable, and GE gives us one of these grill pans here, or grill pans. If I'm doing a steak, I might do it on that, but for my chicken nuggets, they would have gone in here, and I would take out my glass turntable and replace it with this metal turntable. Now, this is important because this metal turntable is going to interact with that lower heater. That lower heater is going to heat this up evenly, so the underside of my food is getting browned, while the upper and convection heaters are browning the rest. So those additional pieces come with this. I think in the non-monogram versions, you might only get one of these pans and not that grill pan. I believe the grill pan is purchasable as an accessory, but you get that with that guy. Now, there is also a baking rack. So if you look, there's little grommets in this thing. We can go in and pop this in there. And what we'll do next is go ahead and select, let's go to oven modes here. And in the oven mode, I'm going to select convection bake. And it's going to give me the option to go up to 450 degrees and as low as 250 degrees. And there you go. It's going to tell you that I could use either the metal tray or the baking rack. Now, interestingly enough, you can actually put a 9x13 casserole dish on this turntable. You could do a second 9x13 casserole dish on the baking rack. And go ahead and hit start. And that's it. It's going to heat up just like it's an oven. So here I can use metal dishes and things in the oven. There's no microwave. There's no magnetron being utilized at this point. So you could use, again, metal dishes, glass dishes, whatever. And it's going to use that convection heater to really heat up the entire inside of that evenly. Let me cancel out of this. If I go back to oven modes, you'll see that there are other options. There's proofing for people that are bread bakers and they want a low temperature to get the yeast to rise. There's also a warm and a toast function. On the warming function, it's going to work just like a warming oven. We're going to have the ability to set this at common warming temperatures. Obviously, the higher we get with those warming temperatures, the more we're going to start cooking the food. If we go too low, then bacteria might grow. So they're going to give you pretty decent range of temperatures for keeping food warm or in a holding pattern. There's also the ability to add, or open up a vent to vent moisture out, or close a vent and keep, I did that backwards. Close a vent to keep moisture in, or open a vent to allow moisture to escape and keep things crispy. So if I've got fried chicken, I can go ahead and keep that nice and crispy, or my French fries that I took out. So in a lot of cases here, we'll get lunch, somebody comes in and our food is just sitting on our desk getting cold. Here we can place it and it'll keep it nice and crispy and warm for us. If I go and I select oven and then go to something like the toast function, and here is a great way I could reheat a bagel or toast a bagel as an example. So it's going to say that you want to use the metal rack with I guess probably the glass turntable or no turntable in there at all, and it's going to utilize probably that upper heater to toast that. Now in a lot of cases I just put this right on the turntable. I don't utilize the rack, and the reason for that is that I want the toast to come across evenly. If I put toast on that rack, it's just going to toast under this area. If I toast it on here, it will go ahead and give me a more even coverage. And I've done this with bagels. It works wonderfully. So for people also looking to get rid of that toaster oven on the countertop, this is a great example. Again, and this can be purchased in multiple variations. So you're seeing it in this Pro Style Monogram look here. It is also available in this more contemporary black glass with a little aluminum trim and that squared off handle. In the cafe line, you can purchase a version that looks like this. Glass, right? And you're going to see here that you don't get that little grommet for that oven rack. Instead, you get this thing. So I do prefer those Monogram versions a little more. It's also available in their more Pro Look Cafe series as well to match this style of product. There's also a version, it's an older version that's available for the Profile line. Profile does not have this newer TFT display. They've got the older dial controls, but really love this. Again, probably the best microwave that you can get, period. And then these Speedcook, convection oven, warming oven, toaster oven options they've thrown in there are fantastic. They've even added, some other features like steam cleaning, which probably has you add a little bit of water. It does a little bit of water to the inside so you can clean it out. Just a great product, and obviously it's designed to complement the Monogram Profile cafe wall ovens. The 120 volt versions in both 27 and 30 inch can go below counter. I think on the new versions, I don't think that's the case on the old Profile, but definitely recommend it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much.